guys, welcome to the show. This episode is actually a really interesting one, and it's something that I think is important to discuss because it has to do with self-worth and how you allow other people to define and make you feel. Because at the end of the day, that kind of is what everything boils down to, right? When you're in the presence of someone and they say something or do something that makes you feel either good about yourself or bad about yourself, it's really never about that other person. It's about you and your perception of who you are in the world, and whether or not you can roll strong in that. And this particular letter was sent in by a mother who feels that her daughter was severely disrespected at work, and that maybe something should be done about it. Now, I have a different interpretation, as I always do, but that's just my feedback that I'm giving about this particular problem, because I think especially in the workplace, those feelings, those insecurities, and those kind of like feeling of inferiority can definitely have an effect on you. And it can have an effect on how other people see you as well. So anyway, let's get into this question, and let's see how we can help this young woman who's going to college kind of maybe look at things a little differently. Okay, that can help her hold her head a little higher, I think, anyway, in a situation that is a little demeaning, to say the least. All right. So anyway, this is going to be a good one. I would love to get your feedback on it. As always, the show notes will have the link to the blog post that will have this letter in there, and you can check it out. And you can also leave your feedback. I look forward to it. NobodyAskedPodcast.com. Leave me a voicemail if you want to. Let me know if you have this experience. I personally have had, I don't know, it's not the exact same thing, but I've had a similar type of experience, definitely in the workplace, definitely as a woman. And some of the things that I've seen, some of the assumptions that people have made about me being a woman, being a Black woman, working in corporate America when I did, and even still, it happens today. It doesn't matter. It sucks, right? But it's all about how you feel about yourself at the end of the day. All right, so let's get it poppin'. This question, this problem was sent in to Amy Dickenson, Ask Amy, and it was signed off by someone who calls themselves, Proud Mom. Yay. Hey, Proud Mom. What's up? And Proud Mom writes, this summer, my 21-year-old daughter has been working as a hotel maid. While working one morning, she overheard a father say to his teenage son, "You'd better stay in school or you'll end up like her," indicating my daughter. My daughter was hurt. She assumed the father did not intend for her to hear the remark and felt the hotel management would not want her to, comment to the guest, and so she said nothing. I appreciate the father's desire to encourage his son to continue his education, but I am appalled by the lack of respect for a working person. Ironically, my daughter is beginning her junior year at college and working this summer to earn money for a semester abroad. In my opinion, he would be lucky to have his son, quote unquote, end up like her. Should my daughter have said anything? And if so, what would have been the appropriate response? Well, first of all, kudos to your girlfriend. Horrible. No, kudos to your daughter who is kicking ass by working. She's working hard while going back to school. Yay, we love that. And that is everything to be proud of with her. And I hope she's proud of herself for doing that. That kicks ass. It's what I did. It's what a lot of people do. And it's, it's very, very I think, smart and strong and courageous of her to do what she needs to do to get her education. Even though times are hard, I mean, you have to do whatever you can. So good for her. Your question is pretty cut and dry. This isn't even a long one. I'll be honest with you. You're a mom, you're a proud mom, and you're a protective mom. So I could totally see you being very upset by this. Probably even maybe more upset than your daughter, you think? You never did, other than to say that your daughter was hurt, you never did say anything else about what her response was, other than that she was hurt. And rightfully so. I mean, it was an insensitive remark, but it wasn't made to her. It was, it was a remark that a man made to his son out of, within earshot, or, kind of out of, he probably didn't even know that he was, overheard. And that is something to keep in mind. But let me go into your question here. Your last sentence is your question, and you say, should my daughter have said anything? And if so, what would have been the appropriate response? Well, I don't think your daughter should have said anything. Absolutely not. Because again, this was a conversation that a man was having with his son. Now, had he said it to her or in her presence, and I mean, even then you have to be careful about it. I mean, unless he is intentionally being vicious to her and saying nasty things to her, she can't really say anything to him about a conversation he is having with his son. I think this is the perfect example of when a parent sort of needs to, and far be it from me, guys, because remember, I don't have kids. And so I tread carefully when I try to tell a person who has kids what to do with their kids. So, that's my disclaimer. I don't have kids. However, I think this is one of those moments where parents need to pull back, right, a little, and let their kids experience what life is trying to teach them. Okay, this is just I hate this term, but it's true. It's a teachable moment, if that's what you want to call it. This is her getting her lessons in life, and I guarantee you it's a valuable lesson. So here's the deal. Again, she can't say anything to the man because the man was just giving his son advice. Now, granted, it may not have come out nicely, and it is what it is, but he doesn't want his son to be he wants his son to be more. And even you said yourself, you can sort of understand what he meant by that. That it may not have come out right, but you kind of get what he was saying to his son. He wasn't necessarily trying to put the work of being a maid down per se. It was just that he wants his son to shoot for the stars and to be, whatever, more. So that aside, what your daughter hears in life about what people say to her and about her is going to be far more vicious than what this man said in passing to his son within earshot. So she's got to be put in a situation now where she has to toughen up. And I hate to say, but it's true. This is where that whole being too on top of your children and wanting to protect them too much is not helping them. She's a grown woman. She's 21 years old. And in that moment, she may have felt hurt. It's a little sort of like, oh, I can't believe he just said, oh, God. But that's also her ego, right? Because she's doing a job that she doesn't necessarily want to be doing for the rest of her life. That's understandable. But she took it in that moment as an embarrassing thing, and two things I can tell you. Number one, if it's the work that you're doing that's putting you through school, be proud of it. Okay, if it is what it is, talk to your daughter. Maybe it's how she's looking at herself too. I like to get to the root of what the real problem is. We could talk about that guy all we want, but I don't think it's about him. I think it's about your daughter and how she feels about herself. Why did she really feel hurt? Is it really because this stranger she doesn't know said something in passing to his son that was clearly not meant to degrade her, but was more or less meant for his son? No, that's not why she's so hurt. That can't really be it. It's because her ego, for some reason, is having difficulty processing the fact that she's a maid and that comment somehow cut at the core of that feeling, that feeling that she has about herself right now. Okay. And it's not a horrible thing, but it's something that she has to reconcile herself with in the coming months and years. And she'll graduate from college. She will get a great job. She will look back at these moments when she was, a maid, and it will be a part of her testimony, a part of her whole story. It'll be amazing. She will be able to make sense of it. Okay. And that feeling that she feels right now, that hurt, she's going to know what to do with it as time moves on. But you can't you can't really tell her that, and you can't shield her from feeling that. I just think parents are shielding kids from way too much. I mean, to be honest with you, I think we have a whole nation full of pussies right now. It's like, it's unfortunate that kids are just so sensitive to everything. I don't think that helps us as a nation, to be honest with you. I mean, this is like, we've got to deal with some crazy stuff in the world right now, and these kids are running home and crying because someone calls them a name, and it's like, really, dude, it's just, you guys have to, you got to somehow toughen up. And this is going to help her. She'll toughen up. If he said it to her, that'd be different. I would say, okay, wait a minute now. If he was nasty, okay, wait a minute. And even in that case, she should not be saying anything to the customer. She should go to her boss, go to her supervisor, so that she doesn't lose her job, because that can go left very quickly. In all things, she needs to be professional and protect her job. Okay. So yeah, that's my feedback. I think your daughter sounds like an amazing kid, and she sounds like she's doing great. And just remind her that she's on a journey. This is just the beginning of what's going to be her amazing story. And if she felt hurt, I would say to her, well, why do you feel hurt? Do you feel embarrassed? Why? Because he looked down on you? The key is not for you to need him to validate you. The key here is for you to have the self-confidence to not need that validation, to hear that criticism and think, fuck him, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because there are people who can do that. There are people, and listen, I'm not judging your daughter. Guys, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like, I'm not judging her as being bad or doing anything wrong here. This is just a process. She's a young girl. But what this boils down to is that this hurt her because she somehow, some way thinks less of what she does. And if she didn't, what he said would not have cut her so deeply. It has to, if you're strong enough in what you're doing and you feel like, hey, I'm doing this to put myself through school, I don't give a damn what anyone says. And yeah, I do this, but it's only for a minute and then I'm good. Let her work through that. I think she will. I think she'll be fine. She'll graduate and be amazing. And that's it. I mean, that's all there is to it. And then maybe she'll hire that guy's son or she'll bump into him again in 10 years and she'll be able to just look at him and go, see how it goes? See how life is? Anyway, that's my feedback. Tell me what you guys think. What would you give? What kind of advice would you give this mother? What would you tell her? What would you tell the daughter? What would you tell her? Yeah, that's it.